Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome back to Needs of Children. We are discussing about 10th standard English medium. In that history, chapter number 8, Gandhi era and national movement. In the previous session, we get the information about the circumstances that supported civil disobedience in that Jallianwala Bagh massacre, Khilafat movement, non-cooperation movement, the main programs of non-cooperation movement, the major developments that took place during non-cooperation movement, impacts of non-cooperation movement. So these are the very important concepts we are discussed in the previous session. Let's come to we are going to get the more information in this session. Chauri Chaura incident. On February 5th, 1922, a big group of around 3,000 farmers assembled in front of the police station at Chauri Chaura. They had assembled there to protest against the police officer who had been when they were protesting in front of arrack shop. The police started shooting from inside the police station. Enraged by this act, people torched the police station. As a result, all the 20 policemen were charred to death. Such violent incidents were repeated in other places too. Gandhi realized the situation, this due to lack of preparation and mortality among the people to hold the non-violent protests. Hence, he withdrew the non-cooperation movement on February 12, 1922. The British holding Gandhiji responsible for all the violent uprisings arrested him on March 10, 1922 and imprisoned him for 6 years. He was released 2 years later on the grounds of ill health. The decision of Gandhi led to political vacuum. So this is about the incident of Chauri Chaura incident. Let's come to the about Swaraj party. The withdrawal of non-cooperation movement disheartened many congressmen. Among that, Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das advocated the withdrawal of boycott of legislative assemblies and re-enter the system again. They proposed to enter the legislative assemblies and create implements this session. This, they argued, would further strengthen national freedom movement. So that Swaraj party was found in 1923 by Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. In the same year, they also obtained permission to participate in the elections when the Congress National Convention was held in Delhi under the chairmanship of Abdul Kalam Azad. During the elections that were held in November 1923, Swaraj Party won 42 seats of 101 seats available. In these circumstances, the reasons for the beginning of civil disobedience movement. The British government appointed Simon Commission in 1927. The commission was supposed to study the effects of Indian Government Act 1919, which was prepared by Montagu-Chelmsford Act and arrived in India on February 3, 1928. Commission witnessed wide protests with the slogans like "Simon, go back," "Bunds, and hartals were organized in different places like Bombay, Lahore and Madras. In this incident, Lala Lajpat Rai died when the protests were lathi charged in Lahore. This intensified the national freedom struggle further. The British government put forth an indirect challenge to Indians to draft a constitution that can be acceptable to all the political parties and communities of India. This challenge was accepted by a committee headed by Motilal Nehru and it tabled a report. Even Gandhi appreciated the work done by Nehru committee. The Nehru report, the recommendations of Nehru report. So among that, the first one, dominion status for India along with internal federal structure. Recommendations of Nehru report. In that the first one, dominion status for India along with internal federal structure. The abolishment of separate constituencies reserved for minority. Creation of language based regions out of the British India. Ensuring human rights to Indians and the implementation of democratic tradition and many other recommendations were given in the report. Later, the Lahore Congress Convention under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru adopted the resolution. Later, the Labour Prime Minister of England Ramsay MacDonald held talks with the Viceroy and announced that the process of granting dominion status to India would be considered at the earnest. After this, another interesting development took place. In Lahore Congress Convention under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru adopted a resolution demanding total independence. That means Poorna Swaraj. Announced January 26, 1930 was declared as the Indian Independence Date. This convention authorized Gandhiji hold civil disobedience protest march. In order to mark the historical importance of this session, the Constitution of India was adopted on January 26, 1950. Then against British, there is a civil disobedience movement started, followed by Dandi March. In the year 1930, the Working Committee of Congress met at Sabarmati Ashram and passed a resolution to hold civil disobedience under the leadership of Gandhiji. Gandhi wrote a letter to Viceroy demanding 11 points. In the year 1930, March 2nd, Gandhi wrote a letter to Viceroy demanding 11 points. In case the government does not accept this demand, the people would reject the paying tax, also start civil disobedience movement all over India. As the Viceroy rejected the letter declared on March 12, 1930, that Gandhiji would walk with followers up to Dandi, the coastal area of Gujarat. So the Salt March. Gandhi covered with 375 kilometers on foot and reached Dandi. In April 6th, Gandhiji broke the law by holding a fistful salt without paying the tax which the British had levied on salt. Many leaders like Vijayalakshmi Pandit, Kamala Nehru, Vallabha Bhai Patel, Rajagopalachari, Babu Rajendra Prasad, and many other leaders who had participated with Gandhi in Dandi March were arrested. This movement spread to other parts of country as even it is spread in Karnataka also. From Karnataka, Mailara Mahadevappa, a young man 18 years of old, participated in Dandi March from Karnataka. So Karnataka Congress formed a committee of R.R. Divakar, Kausalagi Hanumantaraya, Gangadhar Deshpande, Hardikar Manjappa and Karnad Sadashivaraya and others organized salt movement at Ankola of Karwar district. So in this duration there are 3 roundtable conferences were held. Among that, the first roundtable conference in the year 1930. Meanwhile, a meeting of Indian legislative representatives was held at London in 1930, and this was considered as the first roundtable conference. This meeting conveyed the message that government alone cannot take measures and ignore the Indians. For the first time, representation was given to untouchable community at the conference. In order to facilitate the participation of leaders, the imprisoned leaders like Gandhi and many other Congress leaders were released from the prisoners. Many leaders representing various committees and kingdom participated in the meeting so it remained incomplete. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, M.R. Jayakar, Tej Bahadur Sappu, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Srinivasa Shastri and many other leaders participated in this conference. This conference approved dominion status, responsible government and religious representation. Since the Indian National Congress did not participate in the round table conference, it remained incomplete. So in order to make the round table conference as a success, a pact between Viceroy Irwin and Gandhiji was signed in March 1931. It is generally called as Gandhi-Irwin Pact. As a result, the Congress stopped the civil disobedience movement and agreed to participate in the second roundtable conference. So let's come to the second roundtable conference in the year 1931. In the second roundtable conference, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Muhammad Ali Jinnah participated. In the second roundtable conference, Ambedkar pressed for a separate electoral constituency for the untouchable. This was opposed by Gandhi. In the second roundtable conference, this resulted in the ideological differences between Gandhiji and Ambedkar. As a result, the second roundtable conference ended without any conclusion. But the British government announced its decisions to provide separate electoral constituency for the untouchables in implemented communal award in 1932. Mahatma Gandhiji opposed this and started fasting unto death. Efforts were made to convince Ambedkar. As a result, Poorna Pact was entered between Gandhiji and Ambedkar. According to this pact, few constituencies were reserved for untouchables among general constituencies. So after this incident, the third roundtable conference in the year 1932, British government instructed for the formation of federal government at the center and regional governments at the states. In this background, the third roundtable conference was organized. The Congress did not participate in the conference, opposing the decisions of the government. So what are the results of the 3 roundtable conferences? The British brought in Government of India Act of 1935. The 1935 Act provided for federal structure at the center and regional autonomy at state level. Political rights were now available for Indians. The Congress and Muslim League participated in the elections. The Congress gained a majority and formed the government. By this time, the World War II had started and the Viceroy unilaterally declared Indians war against Germany. The Congress walked out, the cabinet opposing this decision. Gandhiji declared a personal satyagraha against the decision of Viceroy. Then Stafford Cripps was sent to India for the mediate. So that's it about today's session. I hope you have understood till now what we are discussed. In case if you have any doubts, you can comment in the comment box. I will solve your doubts. And I will come back with the next video. Until, keep watching my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next session. Bye-bye. Take care.